Today we're gonna play with monkeys. Yippee! Let's do it! Okay, let's play with my monkey. Hoo hoo ha ha! Woo! Okay, bye bye.
Thank you to my assistant for the cutest intro ever, but instead of playing with monkeys today, we are going to be making a t-shirt with the Cricut Joy. I'm super excited because I've been wanting to make this t-shirt for a long time, and we're going to go ahead and learn how you can make a full-size t-shirt with a full-size design on the smaller Cricut Joy. So we're gonna head into Design Space in just a moment, but what I have here is just a plain t-shirt. I have some white iron-on, and because I'm using full-size material, I'm going to grab my Cricut Joy mat. You can also use the blue mat as well, and we're going to place this right on the mat and then use the Cricut Joy to get it all cut out. So let's go ahead and head into Design Space. We're going to get the file all ready, and I'll show you how you can take a bigger file and make it smaller so that you can go ahead and use the Cricut Joy to get it all cut out. All right, let's get designing.
Okay, so I found this really cute file that says grow where you are planted, and I found it in Cricut Design Space in the images section right over here. The file name is just grow where you are planted. I have my Cricut Joy selected right here, and if you'll note, there is an alert that pops up. And if you click on the alert, it's just telling you that this file is not supported by Joy. Image is too large, reduce the image size to 4.5 by 48 inches or less. So it's reminding you again of the size limitations of the Joy. So as is, I have already sized my design for my shirt. I wanted about 9 inches across, but my 9 inches by 6.2 inches is too big to fit through the Joy. So what I need to do is I need to slice this image into 2 pieces. That way I can cut each piece out on the Joy, and then I'll be able to go ahead and replace it together on my shirt to make a full-size t-shirt. So the quickest and easiest way that I'm going to do this is I am going to come over to the shapes. I'm going to select a square, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my square to the back, and I'm going to make it pink just so I can really see. I'm going to unlock it so that I can make it more of a rectangle, and I am going to place it over or under the area that I want to slice apart. Now if you'll notice right here, let me zoom in. If you notice right here, it's going to, wherever you have placed a box over, it's going to take that part away from the whole image. So I have a little piece that's going to slice off here and just a little tip here. I'm personally okay with that. I'm not going to miss that. And I find this, for this file, it's going to be easier to slice it apart than it is going to be to contour it. So I'm going to go ahead and make that decision that I'm totally fine with losing that little piece. If you're not okay with that, go ahead and just use the contour button to contour your pieces apart. And I have a whole tutorial on how to do that, and I'll place that in the top corner. So before I do this, what I want to do is I want to make sure I only have 2 layers, because you can only slice apart 2 layers at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and select those 2 layers. Then I am going to say slice. Now remember, whatever your box is over or under is what's going to be taken away. So I'm going to go ahead and slice. And then you'll notice that now this has become independent of the rest of the file. So now I can delete the 2 files down here, and then I can use this right here. Now right here there is the little tip of this little stem right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into contour, and I am just going to remove that little tip. So I'm going to zoom in because I don't want that there. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm just going to click, make sure I get it. I think I did. I'm going to click that part off. Okay, so I'm just going to hover over that, click it off to turn it off, and then when I exit out, it will have been removed from my file. So now, if you look over in your layers panel, there are no alerts, and our image as a whole is still going to be the same size. So we are good to go. Now we still have a full-size shirt, but it's going to cut it into 2 pieces, and then we can make a full-size t-shirt more manageably on the Cricut Joy. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and say make it, and then what I will do is I am going to say that I am going to place my material on a mat. I'll say done, and then it's going to place my designs on 2 separate mats because of the length. So what I need to do here is I need to make sure that each mat is mirrored because I am using iron-on. So I'm going to click the toggle for mirror to turn that on each of my layers. Then I can go ahead and say continue. I will browse all materials and select everyday iron-on, say done, and now I will load my mats and get everything cut out. For my heat guide, I'm going to look up my temperatures so I know how to press my design onto my shirt. I'm going to use the Cricut EasyPress 2. For my heat transfer material, I'm going to select Everyday Iron-On. For my base material, I am going to say it is a cotton poly blend because that's what my specific shirt is. I'll use a Cricut EasyPress mat and then select apply. So it's going to tell me to go ahead and preheat for 5 seconds before I start. Then I will do 315 for 30 seconds with light pressure. I'll flip and press the back for an additional 15 seconds and then do a cool peel.
Okay, so I have my first little piece of iron-on laid it down on my mat. As a reminder, you want to place the shiny side face down on your mat. And I'll go ahead and load it into my machine. And again, this is the first half of my design. And then once this is done being cut, I will go ahead and load my second mat to do the second half of my design. So while that is still cutting, I'm on my second mat now. I'm going to go ahead and preheat my EasyPress 2, and I'm going to preheat it again to 315 for 30 seconds. Okay, so now that my designs have been cut out, I'm going to go ahead and begin weeding out my designs. And if you're new to weeding, you are simply taking away any part of the design that you do not want to have on your final project. So in this case, I'm going to be removing all of that background and leaving the text on the sheet. So I'm pulling away. I like to start with the background and pull away that first because it just kind of helps me focus my eye a little bit better, but you can do it any way that you wish. And then once that background, for the most part, is gone, then I like to go through and get all the little middle pieces, just like this. So while I'm weeding out these pieces, let me know what you are working on right now. What's on your craft table? I feel like I have a long list of crafts that I want to do, and I'm just going through my list and slowly checking things off. So let me know, do you work off of a craft list, or do you just kind of craft on the fly and do whatever comes to mind next? Okay, so once I get done, what I like to do is I like to turn it over, and then I just like to go through with my weeding tool and just browse through, make sure I got all of the pieces, because once you press the shirt, if you missed any pieces, those pieces are going to stay on the shirt. So this looks really good, and now what I can do is move on to my next piece. Okay, so now everything has been weeded, so I'm just going to place my shirt right on my EasyPress mat, and then I'm going to take my press, it's preheated to the 315, and I'm just going to run it over my shirt for 5 seconds. This just makes sure that the moisture is out of the shirt, and then it also removes any wrinkles in case you have any still in your shirt. I also want to mention that I do pre-wash my shirts before I place iron-on them, and so this has been washed and it's ready to go. Okay, so now I can just take my design and place it right on my shirt. Now I'm going to have to press these in 2 separate little pieces because they overlap, and so if you'll notice right here, this top of this H is going to actually press onto the other sheet, so you want to make sure you know that, or you can cut apart the sheet if you'd like, and you could press them at the same time. I have a little piece of iron-on that was straggling in there. There we go. You want to make sure if you have any little pieces that came off during weeding that they're not still on the shirt. So why I am doing this like this right now is just to get an idea of if I like the placement on the shirt just like that, and I think I do. I think that looks good. I might even bring it down just a little bit more, and you can bring out a measuring tape if you find that that helps you. I usually just eyeball it. That looks really, really great. Okay, so now what I can do is I can just take that first part and remove it. I'm going to take my press, and then I will press at 315 for 30 seconds with light pressure. Okay, and now this is a cold peel, so what I like to do is I like to remove the shirt from the mat, and I like to place it on a cooler surface just to really help draw the heat out quicker, and that helps just speed up the process of the whole craft if you're in a hurry. Okay, so now that that is cold, I can go ahead and remove the carrier sheet, just like this, monitoring and making sure everything has laid down, which it has. Okay, and now I can grab my mat one more time, place my shirt right back on there, and I will get the second part of my design all placed where I'd like it. Okay, so now I'm going to be placing my press over my design one more time. And because I don't want to worry about, I don't like to have exposed HTV touch my heat press, so what I'm going to do is I am going to place this little protective mat over my whole design. That way it places a barrier between my exposed iron-on or HTV right up here and my heat press. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this is I think this is a 9-inch design, so this should be fine for my 9x9 press here. So I'm going to place that right over the whole thing, and then I will go ahead and do another press. You can also just place it over the second half as well. And I noticed that I have a little bit of my design that didn't get a press. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my press and I'm going to place it right over that part and then just do an additional press, just because one of my little words fell a little outside of my press. So I want to make sure everything gets some heat so it lays down. Okay, so that is all ready. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this mat. Now this gets really, really hot. I also want to mention, if you don't have a mat like this, you can use parchment paper, and that also provides a really nice barrier too. So I'm just going to make sure I touch the corners where it's not as hot to remove that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the entire shirt and then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do 2 additional presses. I'll do 1 press on the left and 1 on the right to fit the whole design, and then it will be all ready to go. Now this back part is only for 15 seconds. So I'll just go ahead and do 15 seconds, and then once it gets to 15, which is half the time on my timer, then I'll just move it over and do the other half. Okay, now that it is completely cooled, I'm just going to go ahead and start slowly peeling away that sheet that's on the top. And again, monitoring all of my sections and making sure everything is laying down on the fabric. If you find that anything's lifting, you'll just place the sheet right back over, and then you will give it some additional heat with your press. But that looks really, really good. Okay, there you go. That was an easy way that you can take a bigger design and trim it down to still fit within a t-shirt, but still also fit within the Cricut Joy. I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, please be sure to give this a thumbs up. And also, if you are new here, please be sure you subscribe so you see what's coming to the channel next. See you in the next video.